Hey, all you AFL and Supercoach nerds, I'm Clarky,
And I'm Damo.
and this is the Footy Mailbag. Well, Damo, this week, let's get right into it. Something very beautiful caught my eye. It was Saturday afternoon, and I was going to the football, and I toddled down to my station to do my walk to the MCG. And as I exited the station, there was a wonderful man clad head to toe in purple. And that man was you, Damo.
It was.
We went and watched live football together.
It was a good game to go and watch as well. I mean, obviously Melbourne won. Well done to you and your team, but
Yeah, eat shit.
it was a good game. Like there was nothing that worried me out of the game from a Freo perspective, but it was just a good game to watch. Obviously, the highlight of the Harvey Langford hanger in the third quarter, I believe, that was very cool. But like it was one of those games where if it went for 2 minutes more, maybe Freo would have won. If it went for 4 minutes more, maybe the result would have stayed the same. Who knows? Like it was just one of those games where both teams just did not stop. It was just relentless the entire way through. So Melbourne at the MCG is a scary proposition.
It's weird to understand what a good football game is, but you only understand when you see it.
Yeah.
And very genuinely, and I don't mean this in a way where usually I'll try to be nice about my friends' teams because I don't want them to feel bad. I know what it feels like when your team loses. It sucks. But very genuinely, this felt like a game that wasn't decided by a team's mistakes, if that makes any sense. Like it felt like both teams played very well. They played true to their style, and it was just about who was in front when the siren went. Like it wasn't a matter of, well, they just waited it out until Freo blew Melbourne out of the water, or Melbourne capitalized really early and just got the better of Freo and managed to keep distance. It was genuinely like both teams like, oh yeah, I can also do good football, and they're like, oh, well, if you're going to do good football, I'm going to do good football.
Yeah. It was. I mean, in the aftermath, I did watch some interviews, especially the pre-game one with Stephen King, where he said he was going to fight fire with fire. Basically, he was going to see if Freo could go with them with their high-scoring sort of game plan. Freo had to really defend, and they did pretty well for the most part. But it was the highest score that Freo has conceded this season as well. So Melbourne broke this defense that is the best defense in the league as far as points against goes, but Freo managed to match them on the scoreboard for the most part until the last few minutes when Melbourne cut ahead, and it was just a really good game to watch. Like high scoring, lots of highlights, lots of moments. Yeah,
good company as well.
Good company as well. Absolutely,
it was nice to just we spent a lot of time just talking with each other as well, and I think that was kind of nice to not have to listen to commentary and hear whatever shit one of the pundits is spouting. Like we genuinely just got to watch football. Like I obviously saw, there's the question of, was resting Alex Pearce maybe the decider for Freo versus Melbourne? And Cass, friend of the show and co-host of the Falcon, Cass, she is also a Freo supporter, and she kind of suggested that Alex Pearce might have done a better job on Harry Petty, but Harry Petty played a very uncharacteristic game for him, where I thought he, you and I both noted that he was quite aggressive for the whole match, and I thought Brennan Cox actually did a very good job playing on Harry Petty when they were both playing on each other.
Yeah, I don't think Pearce being in or out would have decided the game, but Brennan Cox did come in after missing 2 weeks with knee soreness, and maybe he was a little underdone to go up against the Melbourne forward line. But you've got to inject these guys at some point when they've been out with injury, and unfortunately Freo didn't have the run home like Geelong and Sydney do they're up against bottom 8 teams. Freo was either going to come in against Adelaide with their forward line or in against Melbourne in their forward line. And you can't really prime someone for finals and have them play 1 month in a 6-week period, especially with the wildcard weekend also being a week off. So I think it will be a game where Freo learned a lot, but it's not a game where Freo fans need to panic. But it was a game where it stamped Melbourne's credentials.
Yeah, lot for both sides to be excited for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love going to football. Going to football's nice. Having a coffee. It was actually a very sunny day in Melbourne, which has been very uncharacteristic for the rest of the week, which has been almost torrential rain near where I live. So I live in an area that's still, they're like building houses, and I'm sort of up towards the top of a hill, but the whole lay of the land goes down to sort of pool at the bottom where they're leveling ground and sort of digging holes for obviously building more houses. And that filled to the point where it looks like just a dirty lake, like a massive dirt lake at the bottom. And I'm like, well, I guess there's no building going on for the next month or however long that takes to drain.
What are you going to do about the weather?
Injury and suspension news for this week. Oh, actually, sorry, no, we didn't do What Caught Your Eye. I've just assumed I was What Caught Your Eye. Damo, What Caught Your Eye this week? I just assumed I was the most important thing that happened to you this week.
Clarky, I've done research this week for What Caught Your Eye. Just don't hit the panic button, because we don't usually do research on this podcast.
Disgusting.
But I think we have enough data now where we can say what 5 on the bench has done to Supercoach scoring this season. So the first thing that stands out is impact players. Not talking about your Cozzy Pickett's or your Isaac Rankins, like proper impact players who we were drawn to from a points per minute point of view. So Wardlaw, Curtin, Hayden Young, those guys who have been stuck averaging in the 80s or thereabouts, but their points per minute has remained pretty much the same at 1.2, sometimes as high as 1.8 points per minute. Their time on ground has dropped, but the scoring attitude has remained mostly the same. So it's meant, because there's been the ability to have them still active in the game but have longer stints on the bench, it's meant their averages have been dragged down as a result. The second thing that stands out is the amount of players who have averaged 100 plus is about the same this year compared to last year. This year, 41, last year, 45 players. What has changed this year is more than half of those 41 have averaged between 100 and 110, whereas last year the majority of that was 110 plus. We still only have 5 players averaging 120 plus though, but the top averaging player is 5 points shy of last year. So Bont averaged 130 last year. Gawn is averaging 125 currently as the highest averaging player in the game. So what does that mean? What have I learnt for our teams in 2027? We probably have to accept 95s as a premium average in our defence and forward lines from now on, especially in our finishing positions, your D5, D6, F5, F6. As for building your team at the beginning of the season, in your line ball starter positions, your D3, D4, R2, F3, F4, M6 if you're going that deep, you probably have to start guys or settle for guys who have a decent scoring output with spikes you can take advantage of. So then you build around these guys and then upgrade when the time is right. So I'm not saying just start anyone, but these guys have to be started within reason. But it's becoming the case where we're stuck with these guys and we don't necessarily want to be. Whereas I think it's the case where that's just going to be the norm from now on with the way the scoring has panned out with 5 on the bench. So in summary, there's been about a 5 to 8% drop in averages this season due to the extra couple of players on the field, which is why players who impact the scoreboard, can run all day, can play and decide phases of the game in multiple positions, have ultimately come out on top in Supercoach this season as far as averages are concerned and scoring and ceiling sort of games. And they will be the popular starting picks or targets next season.
Good work there, man. No, it's interesting to think about, is it because I think we were all a bit catastrophizing at the start of the year when the actual numbers probably state that there's only been a minor shift really in terms of what we were predicting, and then obviously informing into next year, meaning that we can have just a normal one because it'll reset our expectations to be within that realm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When I was doing this research, so I don't know what sparked. I don't know what sparked me to make this investigation, or to start this investigation. But I've kind of been looking into averages, and I saw a tweet from someone not too long ago who already mentioned the sort of split in averages of players above 100. And so so I dug into it a bit more, and I looked at guys like I looked at guys who were probably going to get DPP or had a chance to get DPP to start with, and then I had a look at points per minute guys and all that sort of thing, and I'll use Hayden Young as an example. We were hot on him in the preseason because of his ability to rack up scores through a points per minute perspective, and his points per minute hasn't necessarily changed, but his time on ground has. So even though he's still going at a healthy points per minute, he's spending less time on the ground so he can have more of an impact when he is actually out there. So it's become the case that even though the players that we said, hey, if these guys had an extra 10 to 15% game time, they could possibly average 110 plus. It's probably gone the other way in that they're now in the middling 80s, which is fine from a draft point of view, but as for classic and building rank and in your leagues, they're not the sort of guys that you want to start, even though they do have the spike scores in them that you can probably hoard for a little bit and take advantage of a price rise, but they're not going to hold on to their high scoring for a stretch.
What do you think the most valuable thing people should look at for next year? Like the most valuable stat that will inform this?
I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be disposal efficiency. I think that's a big one because we saw Isaac Rankin on the weekend score 223 in a pretty dour looking game, especially in the wet in Adelaide, and his score was propped all the way up through the high disposal efficiency and a high contested possession rate. So I think those are two factors that people will need to look at, especially disposal efficiency, though.
Have you got any dark horses using this information?
I'm looking at. I spoke about a line ball starter in potential in D3, D4 positions, those sort of starting positions. If I was going to hang my hat on a player to potentially break out and move from an 85 to a 95 average, I've got my eye on Carl Warner.
Okay. Oh, okay. Done. There's no expanding on that. Just yeah.
There's no expanding on it.
Done. Well,
I'll dig into Carl Warner in the preseason when we get there. But for now, people can do their own research.
Yeah, you don't want it to get Warner out.
Exactly.
You don't want to. You know what? I did it. I'm going to say I stuck that one. Injury and suspension news for this week. Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera is out for the season. Pinged his hamstring approximately 10 points into the St Kilda Carlton match. And you could literally hear an entire AFL community go, damn, for varying different reasons, whether it be you're a St Kilda supporter, you're a Supercoach player, you're a fantasy player, or some other type of league. It did really feel like that one took the wind out of everyone.
Oh, that game was so weird to watch because Wanganeen-Milera went down, and then
Brad Hill
then Brad Hill looked like he had done his knee, but then was fine. Mason Wood is out. Liam Ryan was having issues. Tom De Koning was having issues. Just felt like everyone at St Kilda was just buckling, and
that sounds like their season.
And now their season is hanging by a thread as far as a wildcard position goes, which is probably only really in reach because of the way their percentage is more than anything else. But they would need to win the next two games and Carlton to lose one of their next two. So it's not out of the question. It's just a matter of whether Ross Lyon can rally the troops or not. And
Who did Carlton play in the run home? It's Hawthorn and Freo, right?
Western Bulldogs and Freo.
Sorry, Western Bulldogs and Freo.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's not impossible.
Yeah, not impossible.
It's not impossible for St Kilda to get in because I think they've got Richmond this week and then maybe Collingwood to finish.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's not impossible, but it's probably highly unlikely that St Kilda sneak in.
Yeah. Tim English is out until at least the wildcard weekend, but probably longer as he's done his knee, leaving the Bulldogs wide open to... We've seen how they've been without forwards, and now how about no forwards and no rucks?
And no key defenders.
And no key defenders. Who have they got left of ruck? Is it Louis Emmett?
They've got Caleb May, who they picked up in the mid-season draft, who's been doing okay. So I think they'll be keen to get a look at him, actually.
Yeah, it may be just the thing that they need right now.
Yeah.
Jason Horne-Francis did like a weird knee, leg, Achilles thing, but seems to be fine and possibly playing this week against Melbourne. I'd say just have a rest.
Yeah, just have a rest. Port Adelaide, the season's over. They don't really need to strive for anything. They've got a nice Dougie Cochran coming through the door that they need to get ready for. You know, they need to make his bed, get house cleaning ready, and all that sort of stuff for Dougie Cochran. So, yeah, just let Melbourne have this one because Melbourne love Adelaide Oval.
We absolutely do. We love losing there, specifically. If we want to get down to the technicalities of it all. No other big news from this week in terms of injury and suspension, but AFLW started last week with a curtain raiser for Spud's game between St Kilda and Carlton, where Carlton came away the victors from that one despite a late charge from the Saints. Good to have AFLW back, Damo, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, the thing that stood out for me was the skill level has gone up another level.
Well, you put them in a ground that isn't trash, and all of a sudden the skills become very clean, and they have the ability to show you what they're actually capable of, instead of them also having to combat with the most vicious of all elements.
Yeah, yeah. Marvel Stadium is available for most of the AFLW season, and yet they want to play most games at Icon Park. I mean, Icon Park's a fine venue. It's just not. It's just not Marvel Stadium.
Fine.
It's just fine. But they've also got to battle with the likes of Kinetic Stadium, where the wind comes in at about 75 knots from one end, and it's just I think the AFL is scared that the AFLW might succeed at some point more than anything else. But I think if even with the conditions suiting, I still think that the skill level's gone up and gone up a notch, and we'll see this weekend if it's across the competition or if it was just that game. But I think we're in for a season that is much improved from the ones prior.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot of movers from those top tier clubs who we know already have long established programs. But I'd really like to see step forwards for teams the likes of the Suns and the Giants. I think they, aren't too far off sort of getting their program together. Obviously, North Melbourne are the reigning champs and seem like they might not lose a game for the next 10 years at the rate they're the Geelong of AFLW. And it's certainly not Geelong, or certainly not the Geelong of AFLW, despite also having a talented list. I'm only going to say this once, Damo, because all of the football communities, we're talking about AFLW now alongside AFLM. If you don't have anything nice to say about AFLW, shut your stupid fucking mouth, because I'm already seeing the comments. I'm already seeing the detractors who want to talk about, the number's not as big as the men's football. The skills aren't very clean. My under 12s team could play better than that. Shut your fucking mouth. You're allowed to be critical of the AFLW for many reasons, including but not limited to, say, a week being given for a tackle that, in my opinion, probably should have been a fine. I don't think it was an intentionally malicious tackle. Dame, I don't know if you saw that one. Pinned the arms, but...
So, you've unearthed something that I've been thinking about, and with the AFLW season being almost half the length of the men's season, should match review decisions be weighted on a percentage of season rather than a game length?
Well, I feel like
For example, if an AFL player misses one game, that is 8% of the season. If an AFLW player misses, 8% of the season. If an AFLW player misses one game, that is 16% of the season. If something is graded at 8%, why can't it just be maximum fine instead of missing a game? Or do we have to keep, or is the length of time irrelevant, and it's the time for the crime?
Number of minutes. They should get it down to minutes. So your suspension is 100 minutes.
Yeah, but
after 100 minutes, you're allowed to play.
I just feel like I just feel like a season that is half the length of the men's season, ruling a player out for 3 weeks on the same metric of the men's is far more detrimental.
Yeah, well, that's why I believe it was only 1 week in this instance. At least the initial grading was, and that sort of makes sense to me because I don't think that you can get rid of suspensions entirely.
I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just saying consider the length of the season.
Yeah, which is why I don't think I've seen any it's been a while since I've remembered any massive long bans for AFLW players because of that weighted shifting. But you're right, like it's something that should come into consideration.
Yeah.
Long story short, fucking get around AFLW and don't be a cunt about it. Be critical, but be thoughtful about it, and be, what's the word? Constructive. You're allowed to be critical of all things. You just can't be a fuckhead about it. I'm talking to you. That's right. If you think I'm talking about you, I'm probably fucking talking about you. Moving it on, there is no Thursday night game this week because Melbourne are playing the Hawks at Princes Park.
Yeah, Icon Park.
Icon Park, that's right. So tune into that instead. The Demonettes. I'm really excited. Alyssa Banner's going to win. What's the AFLW Coleman?
I think it's still called the Coleman.
Is it still called the Coleman?
Don't fact check me, but
no,
I actually don't know if they have a name for the award yet.
Yeah, it might just be. It's just the leading goal kicker.
Yeah.
I'm having a look here if there's any interesting names that have been.
The Colewoman medal.
Oh, we could call it the Vesio.
You could.
Darcy has won it twice in 2017 and 2021.
I think they'll get to naming the awards in due time.
Yeah, exciting.
I think the best and fairest award probably needs a name. The Coleman, whatever, or the leading goalkeeper award probably needs a name. So yeah, I think that'll happen in due time, and we'll know who to name it after soon enough.
Yes, very, very much so. Damo, Supercoach Finals is also open now. I wasn't expecting this. Were you?
It's opened pretty early, but you don't get the week off because of the wildcard round. So I'm not surprised that it opened a little bit earlier. But 2 weeks out is a little bit unprecedented. And I can't lie, I've gone in and I've built a team with the projected wildcard teams, and my first thoughts, I will be targeting that Tim English matchup, the lack of Tim English matchup, I should say, with the Bulldogs likely featuring in wildcard round. So, is that Darcy Cameron or is that Lockie McAndrew? Reacquainting myself with Lockie McAndrew, I don't know, but those are my thoughts initially. I think it's going to be interesting to see what people go with, especially with wildcard and all that. And I hate that people might end up with the same teams. So have fun with it. Have fun with it, because if everyone has the same teams, then you're not going to win anything.
Exactly, Damo. Exactly. I haven't even looked at it yet. I can't even remember who's currently in for the wild card. So, but we'll probably have a look at it closer to the time. Looking at the current ladder, what is it? It's Geelong, Collingwood. Oh, Geelong, Collingwood, Bulldogs, Carlton. That's a really fun 4 to pick from. There's a lot of stars in that. Everyone's picking Nick Dacos. Everyone's probably picking Bailey Smith. Maybe.
I think Geelong probably sneak into top 6. I think it's more likely Adelaide Bulldogs, Carlton Collingwood.
Adelaide. Thank you for not picking my team.
I think the ladder's close enough between 4th and 7th that if Adelaide lose either this week or the week after, they probably have to play from 7th.
Interesting. That is interesting. There's a lot to happen on the ladder, isn't there? Actually, the more I think about it,
there's still a bit happening for sure.
Thanks, Demo. There sure is football still happening.
There sure is football.
Where are we at? Damo, it's time for the spark.
It is time for the spark.
And you're sparking this week.
I am. I sparked last week because you couldn't think of one. But yeah. I've got another spark. And this week I'm very, very, very excited because my spark is my boy. He's only in 5% of teams.
What, Will Lewis?
It's Andy Brayshaw.
Oh.
Comes up against Adelaide and Carlton, 2 teams that Freo have already played this season. And in round 4, he scored 120. And in the round 7 against Carlton, he scored 106. He is under 500k. I just think he's going to be a good one to pick up for under 500k on the run home for those who can.
I haven't ever had a problem with the Brayshaw. So go for it, I reckon.
Good family, good player, good family, good people.
Yep. Love onions. Listeners, if you want to send us a question, remember you can send us a question through the website or comment on the social media posts that we make. We need them hopefully by 8 p.m. Wednesday. If you want to send us a voice memo, jump on the website and there is a form there that you can submit, and we ask for that by 8 p.m. Tuesday so that we can get it all set up for the podcast. Damo will jump straight into it from a nebulous Tim. They're back. They are back. Held on to my last trade in the end. Well, now with Nass out, that decision might have paid off, although Petrakis is still stinky poo. You agreed?
Yes.
Who to trade Nass to? I can't loop to mid, so it must be a defender. They already have Whitfield, Ash, Mills, Josh Dacos, Worrell, with Dirksen and Ryan on the bench. Is Bowie the call?
I like Jack Bowie. I've liked owning him, actually. He's probably one of the ones I would be seriously considering, yes. Just trying to think who else. Lockie Whitfield is a nice price. He's already got Whitfield. So that's... I think it's Jack Bowie. I think it's Jack Bowie.
Yeah, on the run home?
Yeah.
I don't think I can see anyone here that absolutely is setting me on fire. Jake Bowie included. Bodie Yuland has just had a quietly good year as well, though, I will say. I don't know necessarily if that's what you're looking for, but if that is what you're looking for, go off, King.
If you're replacing Nass, I think I'd go for someone a little bit more reliable, like a Bowie.
Has he been that reliable?
He's been awesome. I think he's only had a couple of scores below about 95.
Oh, yeah. 78 and 77. Like earlier in the year. Oh yeah, his year's been much better than I thought.
Yeah,
it's just been there's a lot of variance, isn't there?
Yeah, but I just think if you're looking for a guy who's probably going to give you at least a 95, he's the guy to go for.
Yeah, it's him, Luke Parker, who's had a good year as well, but has been bad lately.
Been playing out of position, Luke Parker.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give as many options as possible. But seems like Jake Bowie might actually just be the play.
Yeah, I saw a screenshot from Al Payton that showed 4 of the top 5 averaging defenders are all out injured. So that's great.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Chris writes in and says, thanks for another awesome year from you guys. Oh, you're welcome, Chris. We'll probably do it again next year. And we'll continue doing it this year with your question. Do you think Grundy is the best ruck for run home, and can he match the top mids for scoring? I've got Gawn and need to swap English. Also, I have McAndrew as a third ruck. I think I can trade him for any Goulden, Neil, Warner for DPP. Which one? So, do we think Grundy... Was that with part 1? Do we think Grundy is the best ruck for the run home? And can he match the top mids for scoring?
I think he can match. I think he can match the mids. I think I can fairly. I think I can say yes on that. I mean, he's got Essendon and North Melbourne to finish the season. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think Grundy probably is the best ruck for the run home. He scored 200 points last time he came up against Essendon as well.
Yeah, I think the only ruckman who has a better run is Max Gore, who you've already got.
Yeah.
No notes on that one. The second part of your question, McAndrew trade for Goulden, Neal, or Warner for DPP. Which one would you go for?
Goulden.
Yeah, Goulden for me as well. With the run home.
Pretty easy there. I don't think it's that close out of those three.
Nah, I'd take Goulden over the guy who cheats on his wife and the Chad.
Chad Warner's been exciting though, but yeah, I think
I thought you were about to tell me for a very, very split second that he cheated on his wife, and I was like, he's like 12. When did he get a wife?
Yeah, Chad Warner's been exciting, but I think Goulden's better.
Absolutely agreed with that one. Jose says, for Nas, I can go with Goulden, which looks like the obvious choice. However, it forces Hugo Hall-Kahan on field in defense and only allows me to bench loop in one line. If I go with Rankin, Bowie, Blakey, or Marshall, I can loop 2 lines. Thoughts?
See, I love Goulden and think he is one of the best options to bring in. But I also think in the last 2 weeks, having 2 loops might be a little more valuable. So with that, I'm probably recommending going for Isaac Rankin.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think having 2 loops, and out of those 2, Rankin or Bowie, I think works.
Yeah.
The best.
The only thing I will say with Rankin is Adelaide come up against 2 fairly restrictive teams. Freo are good defensively, obviously, and then the Giants can run with a few tags. So if you're worried about that, Bowie might be the guy to go with.
Only if you're worried, though.
Yeah. Depends what you're expecting out of them.
Yeah. Matthew writes in and says, I have 1 trade left, 19k in the bank, Nas in defense, Sam Banks, Hall-Kahan as cover. Do I trade for a primo defender or use the cover and upgrade another line? Also has Petrarca and Thilthorpe plus Jordan Clark.
The issue is Petrarca has come down to such a price where who do you send him to? Who do you turn him into at that price? He's stinky poo poo. He's turned into just a rolling turd out there on People First Stadium.
Well, hey, to be fair, he was playing in Canberra this week.
Was he? Though, was he actually there?
It was torrential rain. It was really bad. But yeah, there's absolutely nobody to trade into unless you've got mega dollars banked up.
Like,
he's 359. You could probably stretch.
To be completely fair here, though, if Matthew didn't already own Riley Thilthorpe, I would have said Petrarca to Thilthorpe would have been something I would have considered. I think you hold Jordan Clark. I think that's fine. So I think Nas is probably the move, but looping Banks and Hall-Kahan is also not a bad strategy. So do you just hold your team this week and then use your last trade in the last round?
I mean, owning Sam Banks and owning Petrarca is basically the same thing at this point, right?
As an owner of both, it's best to own neither. I have no trades, but if I was allowed to trade one of them out and just not have a player in my team, I would do it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think trading Nas makes the most sense. Get yourself replace a primo with a primo. Like, don't mess around too much. Petrarca still has the ability to score okay because he's Christian Petrarca for all the crap that we give him. Yeah. He's kind of he's not the only person at Gold Coast who sucks right now.
Correct. So
it's not just him. There's something deeper, I think, going on there.
But yeah, we've mentioned Jake Bowie. If you don't have Lockie Whitfield, he's at a very good price.
Tom McCarthy.
Tom McCarthy's like, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Probably not a prima.
West Coast are rotating those small rebounding defenders a little bit, so even bringing in Josh Lindsay on the weekend kind of muddied the waters there for Marcus Herbert. So I think I would steer clear of West Coast players for now. I think it's Bowie or Whitfield if Nass is stuck in defence.
Sounds good to me. Hey Damon, we got a little bit of time to talk some football. How was your take of the round so far? We've done all the questions.
Take of the round so far.
Yeah, take of the rest of the round. I'll tell you this week that I had LDU on my bench with Herbert because Herbert's obviously been playing well.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to see which one of these guys scores better, and then I'll move him on field. LDU 156, brilliant, big chef's kiss. Who do I take off for him? And I'm like, okay, do I play Noah Anderson? Do I play Marcus Herbert? You know, Newcomb's kind of up and down here and there. I ended up picking Noah Anderson going onto my bench, which seemed like the good decision when he scored 78. And I was like, oh, easy. And then Marcus Herbert scored 76. So I lost 2 points. And that was very frustrating because it's so insignificant.
I love and I understand why you did not ask me this time around.
Yes. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, I can steer people down a good path or a bad path. It depends how I'm feeling.
I love that you imply that it's intentional.
It's definitely not intentional.
Yes.
It's just, yeah.
Who do you think is in the most danger of falling out? You said that Adelaide, but do you genuinely think that Adelaide are the most danger of falling out into the wildcard finals?
Yes. So if we have a look at the run home, Brisbane have... Who do Brisbane have? They've got Gold Coast this week, and then... Oh, look at that. The AFL website's had an update. That's fantastic. Brisbane have Gold Coast this week and then Collingwood at the MCG the week after. But I don't think Brisbane will fall into wildcard. Adelaide have Fremantle this week and then the Giants the week after. I think we've already mentioned that, I think. Who else? Geelong have North this week and then Richmond next week. It's just looking like... and then Melbourne have Port Adelaide and then Western Bulldogs. So that Melbourne Western Bulldogs game could be Melbourne wins and they save themselves from wildcard, or they lose and they're in wildcard.
Yeah, it's horrifying, isn't it? Absolutely horrifying to think about. I'm thinking about going to that game with co-host of the Falcon, Chris, who is a Doggies supporter.
That'll be interesting.
But maybe I shouldn't.
Too stressful?
Yeah, it might be too stressful. I was already stressed at this one well enough.
Yeah, well, you were saying that you weren't really planning on going, but because I was there.
I would not have gone if you weren't in Melbourne.
Yes, I think that's what you said.
Yeah. What do you take of the Bulldogs at the moment, since we're already talking about them? They've lost to North this week, and North played particularly well, but it seems like the Bulldogs have just fallen off a cliff.
Can we talk about North first? North looked fantastic.
Yeah, go ahead.
They looked awesome. George Wardlaw looked excellent. Luke Davies-Uniacke played a bit of a dual role between forward line and midfield. Harry Sheezel had a pretty good game, but he wasn't his usual self in the way that he just racks up the football. But I felt like he was more deliberate with how he used the football, which was good. And then Luke Parker at the end of the game, right as the siren went, popped that ball through the goal and saluted the crowd. It was just an awesome game to watch. And I think North Melbourne fans have been waiting for a performance like this, where they've been able to go the entire game with this sort of dominance. And I think they've got something to build on now. As for Western Bulldogs, I'm worried. It just doesn't feel like they're taking in finals form into what could be the finals, a wildcard final. People are talking about teams won't be able to hold up for 5 weeks if they enter in the wildcard. They won't be able to make it through very far in the finals. And I think the Western Bulldogs are in danger of, making that assumption very true.
Yeah, I'm genuinely struggling to figure out what the issue is as well. Obviously injury, but I I just always had this idea that they had a more depth than I've given them credit for, obviously.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Like, even Marcus Bontempelli isn't just ripping games open at the moment. Like, he's just sort of going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's like are they happy just getting into wildcard at seventh or eighth? Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they've given up?
I don't think they've given up. I just think they've settled for the fact that they won't get into the top six.
Damo, the Eagles didn't look as bad as they usually do this week as well, which I thought was quite interesting. I put that game on Sunday because I was like, something to put on, something to have in the background. And then I actually found myself watching large portions of it, going up against Collingwood. Really, as much as I don't like to do it, got behind the Eagles a bit to try and knock Collingwood off. And 19 points is a lot further out than it actually felt when you're watching the game.
Yeah, they've really improved at Optus Stadium this season, and I think they're getting back to the point where Optus Stadium is becoming a bit of a fortress again, which is something they needed to really take back for themselves in this development process.
Are you legally allowed to say good things about West Coast?
It's good for WA football if they're good.
Fair enough. Word coming out that Josh Fraser has finally thrown his hat in the ring for the Carlton job after the crowd this week was chanting, "We want Fraser."
Do you want to know what I thought was funny? Was he said he wants it, but the board is still going to make him present. It's like, what is he going to present? Just KO minis of like the games that he's coached, or are they going to play a game of have you been paying attention? What does this presentation need to be? Is he just got to be in there, and then they just hand him a glass of wine and a handshake and go and go, welcome to the Carlton Football Club. You're now the head coach, not just the interim head coach. Like, what is this presentation?
It's a graph that shows the decline of Voss and then a big spike where he takes over. And
they just get Alan Kohler to present it like he does the stocks on the ABC.
It baffles me that they would. I think they're probably making him because they've already started a process and they have to complete that process morally and ethically.
Look, I don't think if Corey Enright, Jamie Graham, Daniel Giansiracusa, all the other guys in the process are thinking that Josh Fraser, now that he's in it, needs to insert himself in the process and go through the same process that they did, they're not being realistic. I think those guys would even say, well, if he wants it, then it's his.
Yeah, but I think there's probably like it's kind of a bit when you're applying for a job, or like you have a job, it's like, we legally have to advertise this, but we're actually promoting internally. That's kind of what this has the same energy of.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think it needs to have that energy. I think we've seen enough to know it's the good choice, know it's a good decision.
Is now a good time to mention, Damo? Sorry, just moving on from that. I'm almost entirely checked out of AFL fantasy sports. I'm into AFLW fantasy now. Looking forward to my first week. I got my team set up thanks to our lovely mini episode that you did with Liam of Free Kick. Liam is also one of the lovely hosts of the official AFLW fantasy podcast, so make sure you go and support those guys over there. They do great work and they have great advice. But I'm getting ready for NFL season.
Yes.
Drafts are coming up around the corner. Everybody's starting to get their teams finalized. All my leagues are starting to reactivate, and now I'm chasing a bunch of people to see if they want to play again.
Yeah, I think I'm AFL'd out a little bit, but I also get really excited for almost all fantasy sports, and I have to remember that even if I enjoy a sport, I don't have to play the fantasy version of it. I try and do an NRL team every season alongside my AFL team, and my NRL team just usually, just sinks to the bottom and dies. So because I just don't check it, and the NRL season is so volatile that it's hard to keep track of fixtures and injuries and all that. So
because they also have like breaks in between where a bunch of players go out to do like state of origin.
Exactly,
or
right.
They'll get called up to, a bit like cricket. They'll get called up to international duty.
Yeah, so I've kind of limited the fantasy sports I get involved in now, but Yes, as far as AFL goes, after the Supercoach finals, I'm ready for that break.
I'm really enjoying this period where I can just watch football. Like it's the post trades era. And hey, listeners, listen. This is the Damo and Clarky fireside chat portion of the podcast that you now get every week. I enjoy just being able to watch football and not stress about the number. Does that make sense? Like I really enjoyed going to the football with you and just watching football. And I didn't check my phone once. I think I checked it a couple times just to see if my wife had messaged me or sent me photos of my beloved daughter. And that was it. Like I wasn't looking at Supercoach scores. I wasn't like fiddling around. It was nice to just sit there and enjoy football.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I love fantasy sports, but I definitely get to that point now. We both get into the NFL fantasy. Are you planning on bringing back Moving the Chains, Damo?
Not moving the chains. There will just be a written blog that I release.
Very good, Damo. And we better make sure to promote that.
Yeah, we'll definitely promote that. And just so people know, even though we're kind of getting sick of the AFL Supercoach and all that sort of thing, Mailbag will run through until the end of finals. Then we'll have an episode or two during the trade period. Then we'll take a break. Then there'll be a draft episode. Then we'll take a break again. And then we've also got an NFL kickoff episode planned at some point within the next few weeks that'll come out to do with NFL fantasy and NFL Supercoach.
Yeah, the NFL season starts mid to late September. So I think it'll probably be towards the end of August, early September, because that's when squads for NFL teams are finalized, right?
Yeah, I think the first game is early September, so we'll need to do it fairly close to the end of August, but that's really around when it will come out. And then there'll be a BBL cricket episode as well, which I'll be doing with someone. It might not be Clarky, but
it definitely won't be me.
There'll also be a BBL cricket episode out at some point as well to preview the BBL Supercoach as well. So we've got plans, but we probably won't be weekly after the finals, and we'll let you know when we are releasing stuff.
This is actually the perfect time to say, listen, hey, are there episodes you want Damo and I to do together? We can become a variety show for the off season because we have time to do whatever. Do you want Movie Bag, where Damo and I watch a movie and then provide a review on it?
Or do you want a Music Bag sequel?
Music Bag the sequel? Yeah. I can take you through my spreadsheet for the year. The year so far.
Jesus.
I have a spreadsheet I keep a spreadsheet of all the albums that I've listened to, and then I have a playlist that is all my favorite songs from that album.
Ooh, I have similar.
See, there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to remember. I feel like
I just heard a spreadsheet and forgot we were talking about music for a second, and I was like, why do people want to listen to you read maths?
It's a bunch of very unsophisticated spreadsheeting going on. But yeah, listeners, what do you want to hear from us in the off season? Do you want to hear more from us in the off season? We love engaging with you, and we like the break, but we don't like the break because obviously we lose a bit of touch with you guys, and we have such a good run over the course of the year. And if you're one of our regulars, you know who you are. We really appreciate you, and we'll do all the soppy thank yous at the end of the season. But just a note to say, we really appreciate you, and we want to do more. So if there's something that you want to hear from us, let us know. Hit us up. We've got a question form and an email address. You know where it all is. Send us a DM. What the kids are doing now. Captain's Damo. Let's finish out with our captains on a strong, strong note. Who's your vice captain and captain for this week?
I think I'm pimping out my ruck line this week. I'm going to go VC Luke Jackson, C Max Gawn. We probably also need to mention that Nate's captain article will be out tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Wednesday night or on Thursday after teams, because there was no Thursday night Thursday night game rather, we've allowed Nate to delay his captain calls until the latest possible time.
Yes, bless for him. So for me, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do Gawn into Grundy. But it depends on who my loops are available. Obviously, Melbourne playing on the Saturday night, it would need to be someone from the Sunday, which I've only got one player who might fit that bill, so they need to not be named in the squad.
Yep, I think this week is a ruck captaincy round.
Definitely.
Yep.
Definitely is. And hey, that's rock it all from us. Another episode of Footy Mailbag. Was this a good one? Let us know on your listening platform of choice. 5 stars, obviously, is what you're going to rate us. And make sure you tell people about our show. It's the best way that people can find us is ratings, word of mouth, reviews, all helps us. On the socials, you can find us at Footy Mailbag on X and Facebook, at The Footy Mailbag on Instagram. And also thefootymailbag.net is our website where you can find the question form, you can find the form to submit your voice notes, you can find Nate's captain's article, you can find the wash-up. No traffic lights, but that's usually where you'd find the traffic lights. You can also find us individually. Damo, where can people find you?
At DamoSC on Twitter. Twitter's mostly where I'm going to be promoting the NFL Supercoach blog as well. So I'll try and put it out on the Facebook page of Mailbag if I remember, but it'll mostly be promoted via my personal Twitter.
You should use the Mailbags account for that.
Should I? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Look out for it then.
Yeah, look out for it. Listeners, Damo's doing something real cool. You go support him. When he sends it out, you go and have a look and you say, good job, or you provide him with constructive criticism. That's the only 2 forms of feedback we take. Has to be constructive, otherwise we'll call you a dick to your face. You can find me at Quantum JC, or you can check out my other podcast, The Falcon, which is at Falcon Footy Pod, where this week I also got to chat with the other Freo fan in my life, Cass, who was also at the game and got to experience it from a very different perspective because she was with a group of her Freo friends. So go check us out at Falcon Footy Pod if you want to hear about that. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.